So, before we get into the video proper, I do want to say that yes, I heard about the movie. I heard about it. We're going to talk about it later in the video, but first, before we get into that, welcome back to the channel, everybody. Welcome back to another one of our weekly Tensura Season 2 discussion videos, the final Season 2 discussion video for Tensura. I say Season 2 because this is definitely not the last time we're going to be talking about Tensura on this channel, but today we're going to be talking all about episode 24 of Season 2, Octogram. But before we get to the video proper, quick reminder if you haven't done so yet, to hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, set notifications to all. Don't forget to boop that up snoot preemptively if you think you're already going to like this video, and I think you just might. But without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about this week's episode, shall we? And yeah, so this week we definitely have three things to tackle, right? I have been splitting up videos into good and bad for my hero, but I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't gonna hold you. This episode of Slime had no bad. So I was like, you know what, we'll just split it up into three things. I adored this episode. I've been adoring pretty much since Walpurgis started. There's definitely some slow moments in Season 2 of Tensura, right? Definitely, but there's slow moments in Season 1 as well, you know? It's not like a perfect show, right? There's slow moments, and there's nothing wrong with slow moments, I should add, too, you know? Nothing wrong with enjoying the ride, you know, taking your time and really fleshing out the world. It wouldn't be Tensura if we didn't have those moments where we just kind of be like, all right, sit down, shut up, I gotta tell you some stuff, right? You know, like without like one of the kings being like, Rimuru, sit down, shut up, we gotta tell you how this world works, we gotta tell you the politics of this world. And I know that's not exactly exciting, but you gotta know it. It's important for the test. Write it down. There will be a test later. And while there isn't a test, if you don't know what's happening, like if you don't sit down and watch the slower episodes, if you just jump in for the hype, you're not gonna be as satisfied, you know? You gotta have those slow moments. Slow doesn't mean bad. I shouldn't say that this season had bad moments. I mean, like every show has bad moments, you know? Like I'm sure I could point to be like to an episode or two where I'm like, that one wasn't that great. But for the most part, Season 2 is like really damn good. Right? It just has moments where it's, you know, slow. It has to take its time, explain things, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think that's a bad thing. There's just, you know, some episodes that I'm just not crazy fond of, right? It's a personal thing. You guys know me, I'm an action junkie, right? I like my action. But I also know sometimes you gotta take it slow. I like me a slice of life episode here and there, you know? One of my favorite shows is Yuru Camp. I like me some slice of life. But needless to say, when it comes to Tensura, my favorite part is the action. It's not the only part of Tensura. Right? Obviously, we've been through this like 1,000 times. It's not the only part of Tensura, and it's not what Tensura technically does the best. But when it does action, it does it very well. I do think Tensura does character stuff the best. And I love the character stuff for that. But when it comes to Tensura, what I like, hot damn, it's the action. And there's a lot of action this week, as we see the fall of Clayman. And I'm not gonna lie, this felt like a long time coming. Clayman has been around for a hot minute. And I'm not gonna lie to you, seeing him go, losing Koyasu is gonna hurt the show a little bit for me. Because Koyasu is such a king, and Clayman is such an asshole, that it's gonna hurt losing him, you know? Clayman is one of those villains that you just love to hate. You know, I'm sure everybody has characters like that. I could think of a few off the top of my head, like say, not even villains, just like antagonists, like people who are just like written in such a way where you're not supposed to like them very much, like Mami-chan from Rent-a-Girlfriend, or like early Fruits Basket characters. I'm not gonna say who, but you know who I'm talking about. There's some characters in Fruits Basket who are written in such a way where you're not supposed to like them. A certain character in particular. There's a certain character in Tower of God who's written in a certain way where you're not supposed to like them, and I still don't. But there's characters like that, you know, characters who are just written in such a way to be such assholes, and so you just can't wait to see them fall. Dio's a great example, funny enough. Another Koyasu voiced character, but Dio, right? Clayman does kind of give me like Dio vibes. But Dio is at least more of a champ. You know, Clayman is such a punk by the end, and he gets punked out hard. Like, the way he gets destroyed is, I'm not gonna lie, kind of brutal. Because, like, we've seen Rimuru use that skill before. You know, it used to be Gluttony, now it's something else. I don't remember what it's called. Or is it Gluttony? Nah. You know what I mean, like the absorbing skill that he has. So we've seen him use this before, right? Is it Beelzebub now? I don't remember. You guys know what I'm talking about. His, like, absorbing skill. We've seen him use it before, right? But seeing him use it on Clayman, like, seeing a person get sucked in, it's, like, gnarly. Like, Rimuru even says, like, just so you know, you can't actually come back. Because Clayman says, like, I'm a death man, so I'll return. And Rimuru's like, yeah, about that, no, you're not gonna. And just so you know, it's gonna be slow, like real slow. So you're gonna die slow, and I want you to think about everything that happened that led you to that moment. And then he uses the skill on him, and he just gets sucked in, and you see like his eye starts to like bleed, and like it goes black, and he starts to like get absorbed. He turns to goo. He turns into goo. And he just gets sucked in. And as he's dying, what kills me, and this is where I'm not gonna lie, I didn't feel bad for Clayman because he's an ass, but I did feel a little bad for Lapras, and we'll talk about Lapras in just a sec because I actually really want to talk about Lapras. But Clayman calls out for the Demon Lord Kazalim, right? Like he calls out for Kazalim. He calls out for Footman and for Tyr and for Lapras. And, like, he genuinely, like, he calls out for the other clowns, and he says, like, Lapras, you were right. I overstepped. This is all my fault. And then he's gone. And the others sort of talk about Kazalim a bit, and, like, so Clayman wasn't the one pulling the strings. Maybe it was Kazalim. We know it's not. We know, well, maybe it is, but we know that it's really, what's his name from the guild, like, the guild master. It's that guy. The other isekai guy. I'm not gonna lie, the slightly boring isekai guy, it's that guy. But I'm not gonna lie though, the idea that Kazalim is still out there gives me big, like, Kazalim is Morgoth to Clayman Sauron, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, that made sense to you just now. But, like, if you don't know what I mean, it's sort of like Kazalim is, like, the head honcho. While it seems like Clayman is the head honcho, it's actually, like, this other guy who was bigger and came before. But that's sort of the vibe I get from the whole Clayman Kazalim thing. But another thing important to mention is Lapras. I'm not gonna lie, Lapras made Clayman's death actually kind of sad. And I shouldn't say that Clayman dying was sad. It sucks to lose Koyasu from the show. I wonder if we can get him back in, like, some capacity, if Koyasu can come back in, like, a different role or something, although I don't know how that would work. But you know what I mean, right? Like, where Lapras sort of, like, Laplas's reaction to the death is what makes it sad. Because Clayman dying is not sad. It is very satisfying. But Laplas's reaction is what makes it sad. Like, him calling out to Lapras is what made that moment kind of sad, and then Lapras later on crying is what really makes it hit. And by the way, Lapras had one hell of a night. Lapras had one hell of a night. My boy stumbling through the dark and runs across Hinata of all people, and she's like, hey. By the way, everyone calls him a bug this week. Everyone's like, oh, I hate bugs. And Lapras is like, nope. He just nopes the hell out of there, like, no, don't want any part of that. No, thank you. No, thank you. Hinata is, to my knowledge, one of the strongest beings in the show, so he was just like, nope. He just nopes the hell out of there. And it, like, my boy, like, nopes the hell out, and as he's running, he's just like, friggin', like, the Lord Valentine's out, so I thought it'd be easy, and then I see Hinata, everything's not going my way, and as he's saying that, boom, the not Valentine guy shows up. I don't recall his name. I literally just wrote him down in my notes as not Valentine, and I'm not going to write his name down because, spoilers, the dude's dead. But Lapras runs into him, and he's like, oh shit. That scene killed me. Like, him being like, oh, come on. Like, when he ran into someone else, like, I was like, oof, that's rough, buddy. Like, Lapras having a rough night. Only for not Valentine to tell Lapras, like, hey, by the way, Clayman not only died, he died screaming, which is, like, vicious, right? The way he says it, and Lapras is, like, obviously pissed, right? Seems genuinely furious. And he also confirms that Footman and Tyr are likely going to be devastated as well. Because no matter how you feel about Clayman, right? Because I hate Clayman, and the way you're supposed to, right? It's the way he's written, you're clearly supposed to hate Clayman. He's like a nefarious villain, right? But even this villain had people who he relied on and who relied on him, and they were, in an essence, they were a team and they were friends. So Footman, Tyr, and Laplas, they're obviously going to mourn the loss of Clayman because, like, he was their buddy. So it's like they were like part of the Harlequin Alliance, right? Like they were a team. So the loss obviously hits. And so when Not Valentine keeps laughing about it, Laplas kicks the living hell out of him. So don't forget, the last time we saw Laplas bump into this dude, he ran and it looked like he got hit hard by that like blood beam, right? Like he bolted, right? Like, so Laplas seemingly was weaker when we first saw him go up against him, right? So I'm thinking like, oh, Laplas is in trouble, but no, Laplas kicks the living hell out of this dude. Like, again, to quote Olin Rogers, takes him to prom, drops him off, don't even pay, just destroys this man. And then hits him with one of two references this week. He hits this man with a Omae wa mou shinderu. Nani? Hits this man with a you're already dead. Like, just hits him with that. And holds his heart and says, like, this is your core. But it's clearly his heart. And then he crushes it, and the dude dies. And as he does, he's laughing, right? He's like, ha 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 ha, laughing. And as he does, he's just like, man, yep, Footman and Tyr. Footman's gonna be mad. Tyr's probably gonna cry. And the only way I'm gonna get through this is by laughing. And so you hear Laplas laughing. And you hear like the ha ha ha, like it just turns into crying, and you're like, God damn, Laplas. I'm not gonna lie, I really like Laplas a lot. All right, so I was like, oh, Laplas crying is not something I needed to see today. All right, like just, oh man, that made me real sad. I was a little surprised to see Not Valentine die, cause he's like dead. So I was like, oh man, we lost two characters this week. God damn, hot damn. We lost two characters this week. Clayman and Not Valentine. Kind of crazy. There's other stuff that happened this week, though. It's not just that. Like, it's kind of crazy across the board. Like, all that is just talking about the Clayman stuff. I haven't even talked about the rest of Walpurgis yet. Because that's not even done yet. Like, after we... and I should address the whole Valentine thing. So after the Clayman thing, I'm just gonna briefly talk about this because I'm gonna be honest, I don't really care that much. But like, there's certain things in Slime that happen. And it's like, I don't actually care about that. But like, one of them is like, the maid was actually Valentine the whole time, which I believe we had hints of or knew, and they make it this big deal. And I'm like, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know this girl, so I don't really care that much. Is neat. I don't really care. So I was like, all right, cool, yeah. What I do care about is Frey, Carrion, and Milliam joining this sort of like this new trinity, right? So what happens is Frey, and this was shocking, relinquishes her demon lord status. I don't know about you guys, but that blew my friggin' mind. I was like, wait, what? Like, and she chooses to serve Milliam instead. So I'm thinking like, okay, she's serving Milliam. Is this to sort of like I was thinking at first, like, is this to sort of pay her back for going along with the plan? I don't know. But really, that's not it, right? Like, it's Frey saying that she feels as though she shouldn't really be a demon lord considering the level of strength she sees that the others are at. Frey feels as though she is the weakest of the table. She says that at the beginning, her and Clayman would have gone toe-to-toe, but the instant Clayman had awakened, she would have been annihilated. And the others are try to cheer her up, being like, Frey, no. Like, Frey, it's all good, my girl. Like, you're better at aerial combat. It's not a big deal, right? You're a harpy, it's cool, right? Like, you're a pixie or a harpy or something, right? I think she's a harpy. Yeah, because Raymaris is a pixie. What am I saying? She's, some kind of, like, harpy character, right? Like, she can fly, it is what it is. Like, so they're trying to tell, like, it's all good. And she's like, no, not really, guys. Like, it's over. Right, so Frey's like, I don't want to be a demon lord anyway. I'd rather just serve Milliam. And Carrion also decides to serve under Millium and relinquish his Demon Lord status, which is funny because the two of them, I believe, were like the youngest of the Demon Lords, like the most recent or the freshest, up until Rimuru, obviously. But I believe that was the case, that Carrion and Frey were the youngest or the most recent Demon Lords, I believe. I could be wrong on that, but yeah, Frey and Carrion both sort of stepped down, both to serve under Millium, which is a surprise, right? Because Millium, not exactly well known for her leadership skills, but I love this direction for Carrion, for Frey, and for Millium. I think this direction for all three is really smart. Having Frey sort of serve as Millium's like advisor type role, like a sort of caretaker, is brilliant because it means that Frey gets to be in the story more because obviously Millium is around a lot. It also means that this sort of like mends a lot of wounds between the two, so they get to hang out all the time. For Carrion, this sort of makes it so that he's now just like a king, right? What's his name? I can't remember. The Dwarf King, who I love. I can't think of his name right now. But the other kings and prime ministers and stuff that we've met, Carrion is now sort of at their level in terms of hierarchy, right? He's still very much stronger than the rest of them. Like, they still have the skills and strength of Demon Lords. They're just, not at the same... They're just not at the same level as, like, Rimuru and everyone. And so Carrion... So Frey's reasoning, I appreciate. I appreciate that Frey says, like, she wants to spend more time with Millium, and she'll be able to do that this way if she's not having to worry about being a Demon Lord herself. Carrion is more so saying, like, you destroyed the Beast Kingdom, so you at least owe this to me, right? So, like, what's going to happen is that Carrion is going to remain the king of the Beast Kingdom, and Millium is going to be just the one above the king, right? Like, the one who gets, like, the final say on stuff, right? And, again, I love this direction for Carrion because I feel like it sort of brings him more into the politics of the world as sort of not just like a Demon Lord and a Demon Lord, right? But, like, or not just a Demon Lord and a king, but also, like, he's just sort of, like, now he's back down to being, like, a king. So he's sort of on par with the others, right? He will have to be more involved in the politics of Tensura's world. Frey now gets to be more involved with Millium, and for Millium, this is an amazing change, right? Because I feel like this is the start of Millium maybe becoming a bit more responsible. Like, I adore Millium, right? She's our best girl, right? She's like a loon, right? She just, like, goes off, does crazy stuff, and blah, blah, blah. But now she's gonna have to take some responsibility. She has people under her care now, right? People who she has to watch out for and listen to and take advice from. She's gonna have to actually be a bit of a ruler. And I think that that's a great direction for the character. And I'm really excited to see where she goes after this. Also, there's the whole renaming of things. Guy goes full bi king on Rimuru. Have I mentioned that Guy is definitely bi? Because he very much is. And he goes like full bi king on Rimuru, and it is so glorious. And he sort of forces Rimuru to come up with a name, because he's like, just so you know, we're no longer the 10 great demon lords because 2 just left, and no offense, that's kind of on you. So you're going to come up with a new name. And Rimuru comes up with an amazing name. If you heard the episode title, it is Octagram, meaning the 8-star demon lords. Because the octagram, I believe, is the 8-sided star. Or the 8-pointed star. So that's really friggin' clever. I was like, oh, that's a great idea. That's a great name for this group, the Octagram, the 8-star demon lords, right? That's really friggin' sick. And everyone at the table is like, yeah, that's really friggin' sick. Like, everyone at the table is like, that is really cool. And then we get the second reference of this episode where we get the congratulations, right? We get the, sorry, that was a Smash Brothers reference. We get the, like, congratulations, congratulations, you did it, you did it, Shinji, good job, congratulations. There is no freaking way that they referenced not only Fist of the North Star this week, but last week they referenced both Street Fighter and Dragon Ball, and that this was not an Ava reference. Like, that was totally an Ava reference. You cannot convince me otherwise. That was 110% an Ava reference. And I'm not gonna lie, that was me watching this week's episode. I was just like, yep, congratulations! You did it, show! You ended on such a friggin' high note that no other show this season can really compete. And in fairness, I ain't watching many other shows this season. Only things I'm watching is Slime, Hamefura, and My Hero. And other than that, me and my girlfriend have just been watching like old shows. Like we just went back into the time capsule and we just watched other stuff. But yeah, no show this season is gonna hold a candle to that ending. Absolutely flawless ending. And speaking of a flawless ending, that does lead us nicely into talking about some movie news. So, the way this episode ends, right? It sort of ends with the whole village there to greet Rimuru and the gang. And I'm not gonna lie, your boy might have gotten a little choked up. I didn't cry, but I did get a little choked up and misty-eyed. Because when, like, you see everybody going, like, Rimuru-sama! Like, everyone's, like, there. And the whole town, like, all of Tempest is there. Like, the whole kingdom's there, like, waving at Rimuru. Like, now that he's arrived back home, he's safe. You know, everyone's happy to see him. After everything we've been through with Tempest this season and last season as well. But, like, this season in particular, because it was crazy. But, like, when it hits the, like, I will be with you wherever you go, like that part of the ED, I was like, like, and then it does the, right here by your side. Like, I was like, oh, right? Because, like, to me, like, I realize now why they picked that song, because it's, like, that, like, I will be with you wherever you go, is, like, definitely supposed to be, like, Tempest talking about Rimuru, like how they're always gonna be there for their boy. It's so good. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it got me like hella choked up. I was like, oh, because I just thought of like all these characters who really would be wherever Rimuru was. Like, they'll go wherever he asked them to go. They will march to their death if Rimuru asked, right? Because that's how much they love and trust this man, right? This slime, right? Like this absolute legend, Rimuru the goat, right? Like, and I'm not gonna lie, your boy got a little emotional. I was like, I'm fine, everything's fine. No, I'm good. Right? Like, I was like, I'm fine. And it ended on such a satisfying note. Like, so satisfying. Because it was like, yes. Like, there was no, like, cliffhanger ending. Like, there's kind of a cliffhanger ending with Lapis, right? Where it's like, damn, Lapis is, like, a lot stronger than I thought. Is Lapis Kazalim? Like, right? Like, what's going on with that? I don't think so, by the way. Just tossing it out there. Like, it was, like, a sort of, like, whoa ending. And we sort of check in with everybody, and Rimuru does the whole, like, yeah, like, I was supposed to live this quiet life, and then I got stabbed, reincarnated as a slime, started up a monster kingdom, and here I am, right? Like, and just basically says, like, I am the slime, Rimuru, right? And that's where it ends, and then it hits you with the to be continued screen, which is obviously a good sign. But the thing is, it ended on such a good note that I was like, I am good for, like, a while. Like, I don't need any slime news for a bit. Like, I watched that knowing that, like, if I didn't already know about the movie, because I went into this episode knowing about the movie. If I didn't go into this episode with anything else, like, if I just watched the episode, there was no to be continued card, there was no announcement of a slime movie, if I knew nothing, and I didn't get that card at the end, I didn't get the to be continued card, I'm not gonna lie, I would have been totally satisfied with that ending for, like, a year. Like, I would have been, like, good for, like, a while. Like, eventually I would have been like, okay, I kind of need some news on what's happening with Tensura. But that was such a satisfying ending. Like, I'm good for a bit. But you know what? The good folks behind this project, you know what the good folks at 8-Bit said? Nah, G, we got you. Here's a to-be-continued card. You know we're coming back. It's like, hell yeah, you're coming back. To be fair, I think this is the most popular thing 8-Bit works on. But, like, yeah, they were just like, no, we got you, right? So I'm like, all right, they got me, right? Like, to be continued. Obviously, this could be a lead up to season 3, or it could be leading up to the movie. So here's my 2 cents, right? We got the announcement of a slime movie coming in 2022. That was confirmed by the official Twitter account, like, actually confirming that we got this movie coming out in 2022. So, brand new project, it's going to theaters, it's going to be super sick. We got a key visual, it shows most of the Tempest crew. And that sort of leads me into believing one of two things. Either that we're getting just a movie, and we'll have to wait to hear what's going on with season 3, or we're getting a movie and a 3rd season. And I'm leaning more towards the latter than the former, and the reason why is because the key visual just shows the Tempest crew. Doesn't show any other characters, doesn't show who we're fighting next, doesn't show like what the next part of the story is. It's just the Tempest crew, and they're sort of laughing and hanging out, right? You see like most of the goblins. You got my boy Rigger. Rigger needs more screen time. He's so great. I love him. He's such a top tier husbando. But you see Rigger, you see Gobta, Gobzo, most of the goblin characters. The one girl, you see her there as well. I believe you see most of the Oni. They're there. And Veldora and Millium. So you see most of the crew, right? They're there. And this sort of leads me to believe that maybe we're getting like a slice of life movie, because Slime Diaries, I believe, did okay, right? I believe Slime Diaries did pretty okay. So a movie makes a lot of sense. It doesn't seem to be in the Slime Diaries art style. The art style is very much like, you know, the usual Slime art style for the anime. So I think it might just be a slice of life with that specific aesthetic, which is fine by me. I prefer that aesthetic anyway, I'm not gonna lie. So that's cool. Like, if we get sort of this like slice of life movie, I'd be down for that. Again, this is all speculation, right? Like, I don't read the source material, so I don't know. But my guess is we'll get like this sort of anime original slice of life movie leading into a third season where we get the rest of what's gonna happen, right? Because I assume like because like I was very satisfied with the ending, but it is very much like there's things left to do. Like, we gotta figure out like who was the guy behind Clayman, right? Like, who was the one behind Clayman? We know that the Guildmaster's like nefarious, so like we're gonna eventually have to have some sort of clash with him. We gotta figure out what's going on next, right? So I think maybe the movie will sort of tease at the end of the film, like a lead into season 3, or maybe it really will be this sort of in-between point between season 2 and 3 where we get like some additional story stuff. Maybe it will tie in, maybe it will be canon, or maybe it'll be an anime original. Either way, I'm good. Like, when I heard that, I'm like, wow, I am very satisfied. Like, I am a very happy camper. I don't really need any slime news for a bit. Like, I'm like, I am stuffed. I have been eating this season when it comes to slime. I have been feasting. I have had a tremendous meal, and now I am stuffed. And I am good for a bit. I will eventually require more slime in my life. But for now, I'm pretty satisfied. And I don't know about you guys, but I had a great time. I had a really, really good time. I'm not gonna lie, slime and Hamefura really kept me going. Really kept me going this season, because this season was rough, but yeah. Slime, Rimuru, 8-Bit. Guys, I appreciate the hell out of you. You guys watching? You guys too. This season was rough, but these videos, they kept me going. Oof. But yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap it up here. And there you have it, everyone. That is this week's video, so I certainly hope you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to boop that up snoot and share if you care. And of course, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you would like to see more content from yours truly. And before we go, as always, I have to give a big, big thank you to my wonderful masters who help support this endeavor either by joining us on Patreon or by hitting that join button right beside the sub button to join as a member of the channel. So I would like to thank this month's Masters of Masters, Izevi, Elizabeth Just Elizabeth, Jeremy P, Asaki VT, JCran23, Matt87 Eagle, Shiorans, Stephen G, and Tristan G. Thank you all so much for being especially generous this month. I sincerely, sincerely appreciate it. A huge thank you once again goes to our masters, and as a reminder, if you would like to join our masters, then be sure to check out that first link in the description to check out our Patreon page, or you can check out the join button right beside the sub button to join as a member of the channel and get a nifty badge next to your name. Either way, it is sincerely, sincerely appreciated. And with that said, it is time for me to end today's video, but before we go, as always, clean your room. It's filthy.